Councilman, welcome back to the program. Let's start with this Tuesday vote. Council is considering whether to require customers, water customers, to cut their usage by 25%. Explain what that's going to look like.
So the basic math is you take each different user group, like there's industry, there's residential, there's commercial, there's multifamily, and you say every user group just has to figure out a way to use 25% less water. And you do that because the state of Texas requires cities to never run out of water. And so when you get within 180 days of technically running out of water, the state makes you change your demand and usage to get down such that you never actually run out of water. And so that's what this conversation is.
And I'm sure there are a lot of people in the coastal bend that are asking, well, what does this mean? Do we all take showers at the same time in our family? I mean,
Right.
how do you cut 25% of your water usage?
Yeah. So, about 50% of our usage down here is industrial.
Sure.
We have a very large oil and gas complex, and they're working on their own projects now, and they know they're going to have to cut. The real issues, like you're saying, which is residential. And here's what we're finding: most residences are already using 25% less than they were 2 years ago. In the state of Texas, 60% of water usage is for landscaping. It's watering your yard, and we eliminated that about 15 months ago. And so most people are already under that 25% number. The ones that aren't, which is going to take some work, is if you have a household of two people, then you have to operate in the same manner as a household with 10 people. So if you have a lot of kids, right, you're going to have a much harder time getting to that 25% reduction. So, and we're going to tweak those, I think, over the next couple of weeks.
But have you heard from constituents who are a little concerned about how they might meet this?
Oh, yeah. I started hearing from them yesterday. I was at a bank meeting this morning, and that one's actually, bank customers are trying to figure out how they can continue to run their businesses with this reduction in water usage. The residences are a big issue in that if you're a family of four, you're probably already using 25% less. But if you're a family of 6, 8, 9, then that's where I think the modeling needs to be adjusted. The way it works now is everybody's expected to hit that one number, which is 5,200 gallons a month. And if you think you're going to be over and it's because of some extraordinary situation, 6 kids, you fill out a form, you bring it to the city goes, okay, yeah, you can use whatever, 7,000 gallons. The issue is going to be how do you the system set up to handle all those inquiries is going to be, I think, extraordinarily difficult for the city.
Explain how this would. I don't go out and check my water meter. Maybe under a situation like this, I'd have to. But how am I supposed to make sure that I don't go over that mark?
Yep, and let me tell you, that is a real problem in Corpus Christi because there really is no way to check your water usage on a daily basis. The technology in our system doesn't exist. Other communities like San Antonio, I'm told, has a technology. I think it's Fume, Fume, and it's a box that you put over next to your water meter, and then it sends a Wi-Fi to your system and tells you what your water use. That way you could track, right? We don't have that technology. So you, at the end of the month, right, if your number is 5,200 gallons and you get your bill and it's 7,000, it's too late. And so that's a real criticism I have of our system that we have today. And I honestly don't know why we weren't getting ahead of that curve, 6, 8 months ago, because we knew this was a potential. Now, let me tell you the flip side that we haven't really talked about. The focus should continue to be on new water, and we're drilling wells along the Oasis River. But we are leaving 15 million gallons a day in our wells because of some restrictions by the Texas TCEQ.
Right.
And I think some of us are trying to go back to TCEQ and said, look, we understand the water quality, but we also understand what it means to run out of water and to, from an industrial complex, right? And also run out of water, from a residential position. So I'm hopeful we can have conversations with the state to get that water and help to avoid this curtailment.
Yeah, indeed. So you guys, you said what, 15 million gallons are in the wells that
Right. So,
you're
well,
trying to.
yeah. So it's a little complicated. Based on the wells that we have developed and will develop, we
Sure.
have the potential to put 36 million gallons a day of water into the system. But because of some water quality concerns, we think we're only going to be able to draw 21 million gallons. But the infrastructure is literally in place. The pipes are there, the wells are there.
Sure.
We just need permission from TCEQ to put the additional water in the river. And I understand, right? Nobody wants to, kill the river.
Right.
But it was a highly saline river for decades before we got here anyhow. So anyhow, it's an opportunity to add water to the system, which would delay this curtailment conversation. So my point is, we're working to be ready for curtailment, but we also are spending a lot of energy to try to avoid it.
Yeah, and I presume people are talking to the governor's office trying to fast track this with the TCEQ.
Yes, sir. I am very comfortable that we are talking to the governor's office. We're talking to TCEQ. Our friends in Austin are talking to the governor's office and talking to TCEQ. And I think TCEQ wants to help us.
Sure.
They just need some data to get to this decision.
And just out of curiosity, what's in the water? Is it high salinity? Is that what it is?
It's salt. It's all about, really, it's all about salt.
Okay.
And there is one entity along the river that has an archaic treatment system. And so it really impacts them.
Okay.
But the city of Corpus has paid to put a pipeline to our system. We call it an interconnect. And that'll be done by the end of the month. So they're okay. And I think that's when we are going to get final approval from TCEQ to put the additional highly saline water into the river.
Gotcha. A couple other questions on the vote on Tuesday. If this passes on Tuesday, how will it be enforced?
Yeah. So number one, Tuesday was just a workshop. That was kind of a heads up. Council, here's what we think we're going to do. We gave some input. Staff's going to come back with amendments to the ordinance that meet what we want. But the way you would implement it is simply you just tell the world that this is your new number, and then you track their monthly usage. And the reality is, if you go over, you could be fined. And if you are over regularly, theoretically, your water could be turned off. But my sense is no resident, especially, is going to have their water disconnected. There is a fee system that's designed to penalize folks that go over.
Yeah.
Which I think we're going to tweak between now and implementation. But the idea is, here's your new number. If you can look up and see what you've used in the past, please don't go over. If you do go over, here's the cost and here's the potential implications. And we'll work that out in the next 60 days. Again, the way the current, we call it a dashboard. Our model says we would have to implement it in September. I'm still pretty confident that that's going to get pushed back. Our model operates on the assumption we get no rain.
Yeah.
Zero. And never in the history of our watershed have we got no rain in our wet months, which are May, June, and September. Heck, it rained last weekend, 3 inches at the lake. None of that's included. So I'm confident that September date is gonna move further off into the future. And if we get the 15 million gallons a day of water that we can produce, I think it really pushes that back.
And so the workshop is on Tuesday. When do you guys face a binding vote on this?
So I think we're going to vote. That was a conversation. We said this is important. I think they're going to bring it back to us at our first meeting or second meeting in May. We meet again next Tuesday. We told staff that's too soon to bring us the revisions. Do it right.
Yeah.
Bring it back to us in the first or second meeting in May. And again, that's creating the ordinance so that we can communicate to the public. That's what would happen if we go into this curtailment issue in September, or even if it, slips into the future. We do need to tell people what the future could look like.
Couple last questions here.
Yeah.
Last time you and I spoke, we discussed the city's efforts on building a desalination plant. You guys are sitting on all this water down there. It's salt water though in the Gulf. What's the latest with that? Because the council and the city has talked about it for years. It got to be too expensive. Now you're going back to the drawing board. Is this going to happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I was off the city council for 10 years and went back on, I guess, a year ago now. And we started this effort 10 years ago. So, the criticism is if we'd have pulled the trigger 5 years ago, you and I wouldn't be having this curtailment conversation. So here's where we're at. We had decided to do a project with Kiewit, which is a very large contractor, local presence. They were designing the project, and at 10%, they said it's $1.2 billion. They came and asked for permission to design it to 60%, because at 60%, they can give us a hard number. And we terminated them before they could design it to 60%.
And explain what 60% is for our viewers. Explain what that threshold is.
60% design. So at 60%, they feel really good about what the cost is going to be, and they give what's called a GMP, a guaranteed maximum price. So at 60%, Kiewit was going to come to us and say, we guarantee it's not going to cost more than X. If it's less than X, you get to keep the money. But if it's more, we eat it. It's called a guaranteed maximum price. Very important on a billion-dollar projects. So, but we terminated them for a variety of reasons. I did not vote to terminate. Had we started gone to 60% design, it would be under construction today, which I think is important. But council moved to a second entity, company called Acciona. They're out of Spain. They build desalination plants all over the world. They're very respected. And they've come back to us and said, hey, let us design it. And that contract's going to be in June. If we hire them, they'll take 10 months to design it, come back with a guaranteed maximum price in March of next year. And that's when we would say go, no go on the project. So the next big vote is June the 2nd, when we decide whether we want to hire Acciona and pay them. It's like $78 million to design it to 60%, such that we can vote on a contract next March. There's some nuances in there. There's a study going on to make sure it doesn't hurt the environment. That's like the third or fourth study we've done on this, but we're waiting for those results too.
And to bridge between the new desalination plant, which would be a permanent fix for this, you're hoping to get the TCEQ approval for the wells.
Right, that's a good point.
Right?
So the long-term solution, I think, is build a desalination plant. Nobody can take the water from you. If it rains, so be it. If it doesn't, so be it. The reality is, if it rains and the lakes fill up, you just use less of your desal facility, because it is the most expensive water. But in the meantime, we have to get to that point. And so we've gone out and drilled a bunch of wells along our main river, the Nueces River, and we've just simply put that water in the river. It flows down to our treatment facility, and we treat it and move on down the road. So what I would submit to you is, for the most part, the wells are a temporary to interim solution to get us to desalination. And the reality is, this is the drought of history, and it's historic on a magnitude. I mean, it is profoundly worse than anything we've ever witnessed. And so I guess the theory, at some point it's going to rain, but I still think we need desal. So we never have to worry about it again.
When I was preparing for this, I ran across a little factoid that I thought was interesting, and it said Corpus essentially needs 20 to 30 inches of rainfall. The city essentially needs a hurricane to hit, and it kind of struck me, having lived on the coast for a while. No one wants a hurricane to hit, but I guess, if you're doing a rain dance right now, you guys are probably hoping for something like that, without the wind, without the surge.
Yeah, nobody's praying for a hurricane. We are praying for a very slight, heavily rainy tropical depression that spends the night over our lake system. So yeah, we're very particular in our prayer here. And I've heard it said, because it's been so dry so long, some people are saying it'll take 2 or 3 of those rain events to get us out of this situation.
Wow.
And again, that's why if you had desalination, you had some wells, you survived this. And we are the third largest crude export in the world. Most of the liquefied natural gas to Europe comes from here. I mean, we are a very large industrial complex. what happens here affects the world. And if our industries have to curtail 25%, I mean, most of the jet fuel for you all in the Dallas complex comes from Corpus Christi.
Sure.
And so this is a big deal having to go into curtailment, which again, I think is why you try to get every bit of water you can to avoid going into curtailment. And then you bring on desalination, so you technically don't have to worry about it again.
Councilman, it's good to see you. Thanks for the insight. Good luck on the votes.
Absolutely. Have a good day, sir.